Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I thought I'd do a quick video as I'm going through some emails here. I got this email from Radislaw, called you Rad, because you're rad. And he says, hey John, I have a simple question. How important for your personal growth is your family? I mean, do you believe it is possible to be successful and happy without strong support from your wife or other close relative? I had a toxic relationship with my girlfriend, and after a year we broke up. Now it's hard to be happy because I can't share my success with anyone. I was broke and left my job, but in the next 2 months I became very successful. I got a new job, doubled my rate, lost weight, and built self-confidence, but it doesn't really make me happy. I'm 25. I make out that being loved and accepted is more important than anything. People often choose friends because of this, even if the new friends make a toxic environment and they'll start failing. So he says, even in Poland, you have an audience. I am from this country. That is why my English is so crappy. I don't think it's that crappy, Rad. So anyway, this is a good question, right? So, how important is your family to your personal growth? There's a little bit more here to this, I think, as well. He says, do you believe it's possible to be successful and happy without strong support from your wife or other close relative? So I did this video about considering the fact that you are kind of always going to be alone in life. And you should watch this video, I think, because this really is sort of the idea behind what I'm going to talk about now, which is this idea that you can't do that. I mean, I understand what you're saying about, like, you have no one to share your accomplishments with, so they're not as good. But And there's something to that. Don't get me wrong, right? Sometimes I think people say, well, John, you're like a little bit of an asshole because you're like, oh, well, you don't care about people and relationships. And that's not true. That's what life is about, right? It's about, that's why I'm doing these videos, right? We have kind of a relationship here, don't we? Anyway, the point is that, like, even though so much of life is about that, you can't be seeking the approval of others. And a lot of times when you're looking for, support from your, close relative or friends and things like that, you're looking for kind of that external validation and support. And sometimes that's going to come. Sometimes, but it's never going to be what you want, right? I think this phrase where he says here, I make out that being loved and accepted is more important than anything. Wrong. Because if you think that way, you're never going to be happy, right? Because you did all these things, you hit this success, right? You got a new job, you doubled your rate, you lost a bunch of weight, got self-confidence, didn't make you happy. Why? Because you weren't loved and accepted. Why? Because your standards of being happy are so high. If you're expecting other people to love and accept you, you're never going to be happy. If that's what your requirement is to be happy, right? What you've got to do is you've got to be happy with yourself. You've got to accept yourself, right? Where you're at right now. And you've got to be happy about your own accomplishments, what you're achieving in life, not comparing yourself to other people, right? I did this video about only comparing yourself to yourself, and which is important, right? Because sometimes that's how we try to gain acceptance by being so good or being someone else's level of acceptance. And so, you have to realize, again, I don't mean to be so pessimistic, and I'm not. I'm really an optimist, but, I'm also a realist. And realistically, you're going to be facing a lot of things in life on your own. And realistically, you're not going to get support. Realistically, your peers, it's a whole, crabs in a bucket. When you make a leap for the rim of a bucket, a lot of other crabs are going to pull you down. Not to say that everyone's crabs, but a lot of people in your life, when you try to improve your life, are going to pull you down. And if you're seeking acceptance and support from them, what's going to happen is you're going to let them pull you down, and you're not going to go anywhere. A lot of times in life, you're going to have to kind of choose that solo, that kind of lonely path where you're going to alienate some people, but you're going to do what you believe. And when you chart that course, when you're going that direction, and you're not doing things because of other people's love and acceptance, which you're never going to get 100% anyway. It's great when you have something that, don't get me wrong, it's great to share your accomplishments and to be able to, to be able to share with people, have friends and family, but you You got to do that out of an overflow that's already coming from you, not from a place of needing their acceptance and love and all that in order for you to feel validated. And that's hard. I'm not going to say that's easy, but that's really got to be your goal here, because you can't expect these things, right? You can't control, some of it just is this idea that you can't control the external environment. You can't control other people. You can't determine what they're going to do. And so if your happiness and your well-being is always dependent on how other people perceive you, and having that support and having that friend and having that family, and not being in these toxic relationships, which, I mean, you shouldn't be in those, but I think you get what I'm saying. If your inner well-being is dependent on other people and these external factors, sometimes maybe it'll be good, or you'll feel like it's going to be good. You're going to be on this roller coaster all the time, and then a lot of times, most of the time, it's not going to be, because people are never going to meet your expectations. Most of the disappointment in life, most of the times we get angry and we make bad choices, is because we have expectations of people that they don't fulfill. When we remove our expectations off of people and we instead place expectations on ourselves, on what we're going to do, how we're going to be, what, the standards, we call those expectations, when we have them on ourselves, our standards, that are principles that we're going to live by, and we strive to be better. And that's what motivates us. That's what makes us feel fulfilled. That's what we find our purpose, and we're living that purpose, and that's the thing that fills your bucket. That's when things are better. That's when you're going to find more of that joy and happiness, as opposed to looking for these external factors, as opposed to expecting other people to be supportive of you, which you can't control. So it's a bit of a stoic approach, but and this is just my advice. Maybe you have a different view on it, but this is what I've found. I've been down that road as well. I've been down that road of just not understanding why people are not accepting, why people are not giving me the support or encouragement that I need, and looking for that outside. But as I've grown and I've been going down this path, I've started to realize that I've got to be more self-reliant. I've got to be more internally motivated, and I can't let the external affect me so much. I've got to be happy with myself. I've got to be comfortable with myself, accepting of myself, and driving myself to grow, and living my life for that purpose, for myself, as opposed to for other people, for other people's acceptance. It's a real easy trap to fall into. Most of us, live our lives for the acceptance of other people. When we stop doing that, we become a lot more free, and we're able to achieve a lot more in life. So anyway, great question, Rad. Hopefully I've done a decent job of answering it for you. It's a question that I'll continue to be answering my whole entire life, because it's a question that's never fully answered as you grow deeper with this. Relationships are important, people are important, but you've got to be giving in relationships instead of taking, needing that acceptance. If you have a question for me, email me at john@simpleprogram.com. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.